There are many ways in which you are slowing yourself down significantly. And I'm not talking about a few weeks of delay. I'm talking about years in a lot of cases. And this is not going to be a video about fast and easy progress, or about how to become a millionaire in 3 months, or the secret hacks to become successful, because I don't believe in that kind of stuff. You need the discipline, you need the hard work, you need consistency, you need to have a long breath to create any substantial success. This is part of the foundation, but there are definitely ways in which you can speed up the progress. And there are many ways in which you are slowing yourself down. And that's what I'll get into in this video, because I'll touch upon the 5 main ways in which you are slowing yourself down. And the first 2 ways that I'll share with you is about the internal part. So this is focused on your identity, your beliefs, your thoughts, your emotions, the way that you view the world. And the other 3 ways in which you are slowing yourself down, they are more related to the external. So this is about what you're doing and what you're not doing. So the first way in which you are slowing yourself down is you're creating conditions and requirements before you can do something. And if you get this one, you will save yourself years. This one is so extremely big. And I'll give you an example in way number 4 about a client that I'm working with. He saved himself literally years by applying this. So what this, for example, sounds like, the conditions and requirements, is I'll do this when. So you can insert your goal that you want to achieve. You can insert your ambition, your dream. I'll start my business when I have more money. I'll start my coaching when I have the certification, when I have confidence, when I get rid of this fear, when I dissolve this trauma, when I live in a different country, when I move out of my parents' place. Whatever the story is, I'll do this when. So to give you an example, I run a sprint at the beginning of every single quarter. So this is a 7-week sprint for a small group of men. And there was a guy in the last sprint. In the first session, we dig deeper into his goals that he wanted to achieve in the sprint. So he was excited, sharing with me how he wanted this amount of followers. He was going to create this content. He was preparing for this thing. So when he was sharing this, it sounded great, but it didn't make sense to me. So I constantly asked him, like, what are you doing this for? Why? Like, it's awesome that you want to do all of this work, but what for? And this is when he eventually shared with me, well, I am doing all of this because I want to launch my offer in 6 months' time. And now it started to make sense. So he didn't even consider bringing this goal of his into the session because, well, why would I bring a 6-month goal into a 7-week sprint? That doesn't make sense. I don't have enough time for this. So he was only describing all the actions that he was taking. So here's what he did, and this is how I challenged him. So he had his current situation, and he created conditions and requirements as in, I need this amount of followers. I need this number of videos or views. I need to have this preparation for the offer itself. And you name it, many conditions and requirements. And then I'll launch my offer and I want to enroll 4 people in this offer. So what I did was, what if you would launch your offer right now? So I removed all of his conditions and requirements and I brought his actual goal into the here and now. What if you would launch it right now? What would that be like for you? And immediately he felt resistance. Like, no, I can't do this. Like, this is impossible. So immediately his body was tense. But this was also good. And he opened up to the possibility, what if? What if I would launch my offer right now? And this is when he committed. He committed to launch his offer in 1 month time. He enrolled 3 people in the first week, 5 more in the weeks after. He launched his offer in 1 month time. So this conditions and requirements piece, when we removed it, it saved him 5 months. 5 months, and he doubled his initial target. This is how big it is. And right now, this was only 1 session. This was a 20-minute moment for him. So just imagine where else he is creating conditions and requirements in his life that are slowing him down. Because he thought, well, I need to go through this process and then I'll launch it. But we were able to reduce his time in which he was able to create it. And if you do this everywhere around you, just imagine how much time you would save. So this is how you can make the shift in your life. Take your goals, your dreams, your ambitions, and ask yourself, where am I creating these conditions and requirements? So I'll do this when I have more money, I have the certification, I finished this, I moved out of the house, I have more knowledge, I have more skills. So you need to get clear on what are the conditions and requirements that you are creating. And that's when you can see it, you can question the hell out of them. Because the challenge is, they all sound so valid. They sound so valid. Your mind is so good when it comes to making this up. You can have so many arguments for why this is true. And that's why this is so dangerous. Because the things that sound like a lie in the first place, well, of course we can challenge those. But what about the beliefs that seem so true that we don't even consider questioning them? We don't even consider challenging them. These are the most dangerous beliefs, because these are the prisons that you will stay stuck in forever, because you don't even realize that you're in a prison. That's why these are the most dangerous beliefs and most dangerous prisons. So that's why you want to question the hell out of those kind of beliefs. And if you, of course, struggle doing this by yourself, you need to find environments like he did when he was in the group, where I can question it for him. Or you have people around you that challenge you on your perspective on the world, because you need this to make faster progress. And when you bring your goal to the here and now, when you remove all the conditions and requirements, you will feel fear. You will feel resistance. You will think this is impossible, but this is necessary for you to experience. You are supposed to experience this, because now this goal forces you to become someone different, to be able to achieve it in this time frame. That's the power of reducing the time frame and removing these conditions, because you have to become someone different, and this will speed up your progress, because that's what we're here for. So, of course, you don't want to avoid the resistance, and you don't want to avoid the fear. You want to lean into it. And that brings me to point number 2. The second way in which you are slowing yourself down is you are creating from a place of fear. And the place that you create from determines how fast you can go. So if you're creating from a place of fear, that means you are protecting yourself. You're trying to keep yourself safe. So you look into the future and you see all the things that could go wrong. And you are preventing this from happening. So you don't want to be judged. You don't want to face rejection. You don't want to fail. You don't want to make a mistake. You don't want to embarrass yourself and have people laugh at you. So all of these things you can see, and now you're doing, let's say, research. You're preparing. You don't want to have this happening. So of course, if you're playing it small, if you're playing it safe, you're not going to make as much progress as you could make. So this all comes down to the place that you're creating from. And to give you a different way of thinking or different words for this, this is related to your identity. This is related to your state. How do you feel? This is related to your way of being, the place that you create from. So if it's fear, you will see different things and you will do different things when it's compared to a place of courage or confidence or abundance or freedom. So that's why the place is so important to see, like, what kind of place am I creating from? And to give you an example about a session that I had with a professional racer. So this is a cycler, and in this session we dove deeper into his downhill, because he was experiencing fear when he was going downhill. In the past, he had a technical issue with his bike, and on his downhill he crashed. So this was outside of his control, and this didn't happen just once. This happened 3 times in 3 years. A technical issue with the bike on the downhill, and he crashed. So of course he is creating fear around this. He's thinking back to those moments, and he's bracing himself when he's going downhill, because he's almost consciously preparing himself for, what if there's a technical issue with the bike, and if we crash, I need to be ready. So if he's going downhill with that feeling, that tenseness, he's going downhill safer than usual. He's careful. He's maybe tense. He's worried. So he won't be as fast as he could be. And this going downhill is actually a symbol for how are you pursuing your goals. Are you going downhill like a crazy person, no fear, or are you going downhill safe? Because, well, what if I crash? What if this happens? So you brace yourself. So very quickly, what I did with him was we went through a visualization exercise, and I said to him, well, let's imagine that I can look into the future as a hypothetical. And I can not see which place you're going to finish, but what I can see and what I can guarantee you is you will have no technical issue with the bike. So this is what I can guarantee you. You will have the certainty that there is no technical issue with the bike. What does that feel like if you're going downhill, knowing that you have that certainty? And when he could feel and tap into that, his hairs on his neck stood up. Like he could feel the freedom, the peace, the excitement, like he would be going downhill so fast. He would be taking risks that no one is willing to take because they are going downhill with that fear. So when he was stepping into that energy, he could see, I would be going downhill so differently. And he could feel it. And that's the most important part. So he changed the place that he created from, which created also a different way in which he was going downhill, which created faster progress, you name it. So now the question is, how do you make this shift? When you're thinking about your goals, and when you're thinking about the dreams, the ambitions, instead of thinking what could go wrong and you try to prepare for this, what is possible? If anything is possible, what would you do? What would you create? And let me make this question even bigger. What if you knew that you couldn't fail? What if you knew that with any decision that you made, you were guaranteed to succeed, you wouldn't fear or you wouldn't receive any judgments, so people will always support you on that decision. So you can't fail. You have a guarantee for success. You will always be supported and loved for your decision. What kind of bold moves, what kind of decisions would you make if you had this guarantee? And now you're not creating from a place of limitations. Now you're creating from a place of possibilities. And this is what you want to tap into, because now you start taking different actions in this world that will create so much more progress instead of you playing it safe. And this creating from a place of fear, it shows up everywhere. It will show up in every single way that I'll describe in this video. Because if we look at the conditions and requirements, why are you creating conditions and requirements? One is, well, it sounds reasonable to do the process like this, but at the same time, it's also out of fear, because you want to have certainty in the process. You want to have the safety. You don't want to get hurt. So this is why let's have some money first, or let's have some more confidence first, and then we'll take action, because it will guarantee or give us more certainty that we don't get hurt. So this one is very subtle, very deep, that shows up in all the ways that I'll give you. So these are the two internal ways in which you are slowing yourself down and how you can make the shift. Let's get into the external ways. And the first one that I want to share with you is you are preparing instead of experiencing. So this, for example, looks like studying. I'm going to learn a bit more. I'm going to do some research. I'm going to prepare. I'm going to plan. Like, these are all kinds of ways. Again, this is also coming out of fear, in which you are preparing more than that you are experiencing the thing that you want to be doing. And the challenge is, what starts happening is, when you start to prepare and study like this, you will bring so many things into your awareness that you didn't know about the process. So now you bring also so many problems into your awareness that you are trying to solve in that moment. So in a lot of cases, you are trying to solve problems that aren't even there yet, that you're not even experiencing, but you want to be prepared for what's coming. And in this overwhelm, you get passive. It completely paralyzes you, because of all the knowledge that you have and all the things that are in your awareness. So you want to move into experiencing the thing as fast as possible instead of staying stuck in preparation. Because if you think you're lacking clarity, this is the one thing that I so strongly believe in, is ABC. This is what you want to be following. Action breeds clarity. If you lack clarity, move, get into action towards the target that you're aiming at. And you will receive the answers that you're looking for. So let's imagine, to give you an example, two individuals. They are in the exact same spot, exact same situation, and both of them want to become a fashion photographer. And you can insert any goal, any profession, any ambition in this case, but let's start with the fashion photographer. So individual number one, he starts to do research on his camera, because he bought a new camera. So how do all of these settings work on my camera? And then he finds out, okay, but I don't know anything about lighting. So let me learn about natural lighting. Let me learn about 1 light setups, 2 light setups, 3 light setups, different kind of lighting. So he's buying a course on lighting. But then he figures out, like, I need to know how to model or how to pose my model that I work with. So he starts studying this. But what about the post-production? So what editing software am I going to use? Am I going to use Lightroom? Am I going to use Photoshop? Or maybe I'm not going to use any Adobe software and I'm going to use other software. But I also need to know how to use this. So let me buy another course. And you can see where this is going. So he's just studying, preparing, learning, and he hasn't done a single shoot yet. Individual 2, he's not focusing on preparing. He is focusing on experiencing the thing as fast as possible. So he asks himself the question, what is the minimum thing that I need to get started? The minimum thing. I need a camera, I need a model, and I need a location. That's it. Because lighting, I don't even have to buy lighting. I can just use natural lighting. So this is how I'm going to get started. So he immediately on the first day reaches out to models to do a shoot with. So he, let's imagine, schedules 3 shoots a week. So on the first shoot, he notices, I was doing this during the daytime and the sunlight was a bit harsh. Like I had trouble getting the right lighting. So let me do some research on this problem that I experienced to do this differently in the next shoot. So, okay, when I do this during daylight, the sun is a bit harsh. But what if I shoot in the morning or in the evening? So when the sun is coming up or when the sun is coming down or when it's cloudy. Okay. So, and he's going to use these adjustments in the next shoots. So who do you think is making more progress out of those 2 individuals? Let's say they're doing their method of creation for 2 months. Individual number 2 in 2 months' time would have done, let's say, 24 shoots in 2 months' time. Do you know how much data he experienced from those shoots? So he is not solving problems that aren't there yet. He's experiencing a problem and is solving it for the next shoot. So the problems that he's solving are also relevant and the way that he's studying. He will learn so many nuances about himself in the process that you can't watch in content, that you can't read in books. You can't find certain answers because they're so unique to you in the experience. And compared to individual one is just solving problems that aren't there yet. He's not making any progress because he's just worried about all the problems that can come and he's preparing for things that might not even happen. So this is why you want to get in motion, in action as fast as possible. So how can you make the shift? And this is a fun one because when you have your goal, your dreams, your ambitions again in front of you, ask yourself, how can I do the thing as fast as possible? This is the thing that you want to lean into. How can I experience the thing as fast as possible? So if you want to, because I'm a coach, let's say you want to start coaching. It's not, let me get the certification first and then I'll do this. Immediately reach out to people. Get into coaching conversations right now, even though you have no experience. So when you have your first one scheduled, you start preparing like your life depends on it. And when you experience it, then you know like, I ran into this problem. I ran into this problem. And then you can solve the problems that you're experiencing. And then you can start building all the things on top of it while you are experiencing the thing. If you want to get into photo shoots, start planning the photo shoots, even though you have no experience. If you want to speak. If you want to write. Don't study writing, write and study on the side of it. You need to be experiencing the thing. This is how you will make faster progress. But this is also scary. So if you're creating from a place of fear, you won't be going towards the experience because there's too much uncertainty. But in this uncertainty, this is where you will create most amount of progress. That's why the place that you create from is so important. Because if fear is running the show, that means you start preparing. You already know that you're stuck in preparation because this is mostly done from fear. And if you shift the place that you create from, you will go all in. You will experience the thing. And that's when action breeds clarity. So let's get into number 4, the 4th way in which you are slowing yourself down. You don't have guidance. And all of these ways that I'm sharing with you, they apply to me because these are mistakes that I've made and that I'm currently still making. And this is the one thing that I regret the most when I look back at my life. I didn't ask for help. My ego was too big. Like I can figure this all out by myself. I need to be able to do this by myself. And it's true. You are eventually able to figure it out. But do you want to spend 3 years on figuring it out on something that you can figure out in 3 months' time? And this is what I've experienced, for example, in my handstand. I've been running into walls for 3 years. I hired a trainer and I reduced my time in which I was able to make the same amount of progress in 3 months. And this is what I'll get into later as well. But this is what guidance can do. Guidance can show you things that you can't see. Because as a human being, you are blind to your blind spots. You can't see what you can't see. You don't know what you don't know. You need other people to highlight these things for you. I've been coaching for more than 8 years. I've been for more than 1.5 decades into personal development. I'm still blind to my blind spots. They're called blind spots for a reason. And I need other people to highlight them to me. Do you know what these aha moments feel like? So when you're trying to solve a problem, when you have this question that you don't have an answer to, and then you're going for a walk or you are in the shower, and then the answer comes to you. These aha moments. You know what that feels like? It feels incredible. Like it feels so expansive, this freedom, like you stepped into a completely different reality. You don't want these aha moments to happen sporadically. Maybe once a month, once every 2 months. If you have guidance, which means a trainer, a mentor, a coach, a accountability partner, anything, when you have guidance, You will systemize these aha moments. You will have them on a weekly basis. Just imagine the accumulation of those aha moments intentionally towards your target, how fast you're able to make progress. Like, it is insane. So I'll give you the example about the guy that I mentioned in the first one, about the conditions and requirements that saved years of his life. So I had a session with him and he was sharing his dream with me about, I want to start renting out Airbnbs. So this was a dream of his, and keep in mind, this was a dream of his for years already. So for years, he hasn't acted upon this yet. He just did some research and he shared with me, well, I don't know where to start. I'm doing the research, I'm watching the videos, but it feels so overwhelming. I don't know where to start. I don't know what step to take. And also, I think I'm going to save up some more capital. So I'm going to work 4 years in this job that I am right now because it's a good job. And then I have saved enough capital to get started. Again, conditions and requirements. This sounds so reasonable. These things that he mentioned are so valid. And this is where, again, I challenged him in the conversation. So, do you know anybody, is what I said, do you know anybody that is doing what you want to be doing around you? And well, he said, yes, I have 2 names. So one is doing this, so both of them are doing it full time. One is even doing it at a big scale, renting out the Airbnbs. So he had 2 individuals, 2 contacts that he already knew. And I challenged him, reach out to them. Reach out to them and ask for mentorship, training, guidance, advice. And immediately he said like, oh, I can't do that. There was immediate resistance. Like, that's weird. I can't ask that for them. Like, they can't do that for free. Like, and of course we created the message in a certain way. So it wasn't that bold as in mentor me. We created that in the session. But he felt resistance. Immediately his limitations were highlighted. Like, I can't do this because it's weird. It's this, it's that. What will they think of me when I make a request like that? And still, he leaned into it. So he accepted the challenge. He reached out that day. The same day, he received a yes from one of them already. A yes as in, I will help you, I will guide you, I will mentor you. So we will do the first property together and we'll split the profits. So you can see how the whole process works. Like, do you see how insane that is? It's so insane. He has been having this dream for years. He was planning on going for his dream 4 years from now. He saved all of those years by starting right now. Conditions and requirements are removed and he asked for mentorship. Someone that is in the field that has done this for years already, that will show him the way. Like, it is mental what he's creating right now and how much time he saved. And this is also the question for you. How much is this worth to you? How much is your time worth? Because that's why these investments, sometimes it costs a lot, but that time save is worth so much money. So here's how you can make the shift in your life. So if you, again, look at the goals, the dreams that you have, the ambitions, ask yourself the question, do I know anybody that is doing the thing that I want to be doing? Or do I look up to someone, maybe that you don't know yet, that I would love to have as a coach, a mentor, a trainer, or whatever? Send them a message. Make a request. Make a bold request. Ask for the mentorship. Ask for the advice. Ask for a conversation. Anything like that. And sometimes you have to pay for it. Sometimes I even prefer to pay for it, because then you have skin in the game. And that's when you will create guidance. You don't have to do everything by yourself. 6 months ago, I invested in a master in hand balancing, and this saved me so much time. My progress exploded when I started working with him, and eventually I could have figured it out, but I did more in the first 3 months of working with him than I did in the last 2 years of training. Like, it's sometimes that significant. So how are you slowing yourself down? Is trying to do everything by yourself. Is not asking for help. And asking for help, it requires courage, because most people are too afraid to ask for help because they feel that they're weak. I don't want to sound weak. I need to be strong. I need to be able to do everything by myself. But it's also way more fun to do this with other people. So this is the 4th way. The 5th way in which you are slowing yourself down is not keeping the main thing the main thing. And a lot of people, they jump from opportunity to opportunity, and especially when they don't experience progress. That's when they feel something is wrong. So they try to shift and they try to do something different. They try to do more. But what you don't realize is that progress and change, it requires time. And I know this sounds contradicting to how are you slowing yourself down, But when you jump from opportunity to opportunity, you are starting over again. Sometimes the progress is showing up in ways that you can't even see, because it is happening maybe even inside of you. It's all the little tweaks that you're making in the process, and eventually all the pieces of the puzzle come together, and that's when you see this explosion in growth. And this is what is happening with the overnight successes. It's not that these people figured it out and boom, they became successful. It's these years of making little tweaks, of getting a little bit more knowledge, getting a little bit more experience. And then all of a sudden, all the pieces of the puzzle came together, and that's when the explosion happens. But are you willing to stay long enough doing the foundation, the fundamentals? Because if you start jumping from thing to thing, you're starting over again and over again and over again, and you're ruining the progress that you were already making. Because a lot of people, they underestimate how much time something takes. It requires a significant amount of time and effort to master something, to get good at something. So of course, you can use all these strategies that I mentioned to make your progress faster. And at the same time, it is a process that requires time. And you need to be able to make that commitment. As in, I'm going to do the fundamentals consistently. So I'll give you a personal example with my handstand, for example. So I'm doing the same thing with my workouts, every single workout. So I'm doing a workout 6 times a week. I'm training on average 90 minutes a day, only hand balancing, doing the same things every single time. So sometimes I can go completely crazy because I am failing every single set. I don't see any progress. I don't experience any progress. Like then I start questioning, what am I doing wrong? Maybe I should change. Maybe I should do something different. Maybe I should do this. And then in this doubt, I start to question, am I even doing the right thing? And when I start questioning something like that, it's dangerous, because then I can make a switch to do something else that might not even be beneficial for me to be focusing on that. Then I ruin all the progress that was happening. Because with the handstand, a lot of progress happens inside of you. The body is thinking like, what are you trying to do? Like, why are you trying to stand upside down? Like, what's the point of this? So we're not used to this. So it's trying to figure out like, what are you trying to do with your wrist, with your elbow, with your shoulder blade? How are you using your chest to balance, and all of these things? So my body is creating a lot of progress neurologically, on a neurological level that I can see yet, that I can feel yet. But it is happening. And this is the thing, over all these years of training, I got to realize that this is happening inside of me. So I need to just stay with it long enough, and my body eventually figures it out. So that's the overnight success. So my body is like, okay, this is what we're supposed to be doing with my shoulder. This is what we're supposed to be doing with the hips. And then it starts to make sense of it. And when the pieces come together, that's when I jump a level, because then it makes sense. And then I can get to the next level and experience the same kind of struggle all over again. So this handstand example applies to all of your goals. Even when you're copywriting, it's changing this word, it's changing this sentence, it's changing this structure. And it seems like you're not making any progress. Maybe just little tweaks, little bits of progress, but it's not this breakthrough yet. And eventually, after all these little tweaks, then this complete picture makes sense. And when that picture makes sense, like I said, then the pieces of the puzzle come together, and that's when you have the breakthrough. That's when the overnight success happens. But it requires all these little tweaks and staying with the thing consistently. So that's why I said in the beginning, hard work is necessary, discipline is necessary, consistency is necessary, a long breath is necessary. This is part of the foundation. But right now we're also injecting ways in which you can speed up the progress. And the way that you are slowing yourself down is jumping too quickly from opportunity. Because if you're looking for fast and easy results, you will not make fast progress at all. Because these things don't exist, it requires time. But in this consistency, you are able to inject ways to speed up that consistency, to speed up that progress, like I shared with all the ways. So don't jump from one thing to the other. So when you look at the shift that you want to be making related to this point is, don't look for the fast and easy results. Look at the foundation of your goals. So for my handstand, I know what the foundation elements are that I just need to focus on consistently. When it comes to your business, there are usually a few habits and a few projects that require most of your focus. You can add things to this, but you don't want to lose sight of the foundation. I had a client recently as well that was making so much progress in his business, but then there was a stagnation. So there was a season where things were stagnant for a moment. So he started to do different things to try to make progress again. But this is when the stagnation went downhill, because he stopped doing the foundational elements, the fundamentals that gave him the business success in the first place. So you don't want to be jumping from one thing to another. Keep the foundation. Keep the fundamentals in place and really master the basics. This is key. So when it comes to your goals, it's often very simple. It's not complex. And if it is complex, you're going way too deep into it, or you're making it complex for no reason. Because there are usually only a few habits and a few projects that will give you the results that you're looking for. So these are the 5 ways in which you are slowing yourself down, and also the shifts that you can make to speed up your progress, to achieve your results and achieve your goals faster. So if you got to this point of the video, thank you so much for spending your time with me in this video, because I know your time is valuable. So that's why I'm grateful that you're choosing to spend it here. And of course, I want to create as much value as possible in these videos. So if you would like to hear certain things about certain topics, leave a comment below. If you have any questions, if you have any examples that came up for you, how you speed up your progress, I would love to go back and forth with you in the comments. And again, I appreciate you being here, and I'll see you in the next video.